Hello everyone, welcome to my podcast, the maiden edition of my podcast, the Love Walk series. This series was birthed from my journey into self-discovery, from being a timid girl to becoming an athlete up to national level and becoming a banker of almost 3 decades. I found out that self-love is the path to success, is the path to self-discovery, self-identity, and creating your vision and ultimately becoming who you have decided to be. So I decided to go on this Love Walk series to mentor and to impact on the younger generation, to pull them into self-love, self-discovery, and becoming who you want to become. So the maiden edition, we're going to talk about the vision. Your vision. Vision is mapping your journey. It's like a captain mapping his journey and following the rudder to your destination. Life is a journey, and the vision I'm talking about is mapping your life, designing your life, putting your vision on paper. There must be a predestined endpoint so that when the waves toss you up and down and you have it documented, you are not going to deviate from your vision. And to take this discussion with me today is a communication expert, and her name is Ifunanya Igwe. Welcome, Ifunanya.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here. And we're finally here after months, or should I say years, of practicing and planning. So I'm excited to be here.
Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Okay. So talking about vision, my practical example of when I take up the vision with people, when I'm mentoring people, is like using the architect, for example. You know, when you're building a house, you get an architect to do the design on 3D. After doing the design, you decide the quantity, do the quantity analysis, and then you buy all the materials before you start building. But our life is also a journey. You know, when it comes to our lives, which is the most important thing, we don't take it as seriously as when we're building. Because when you are building, you first of all build it on paper, then you do the design, and then you start working towards it. And that helps you in determining when you've made a mistake and when you're deviating from it.
Absolutely.
But our lives, what I'm trying to teach here and what I'm trying to share is that we have to write our vision down, decide to put it on paper, put a plan, start from the end in mind. If you want to be an artist, what kind of artist do you want to become? Do you want to become an international artist? Who is an example of the artist you want to be like? You write them on paper, you make a plan. How do you start your journey? So you start from the end, do the design, then you start working towards it. How long is it going to take? What's the estimated time it's going to take you to get there? So that when you are deviating from that path, very consciously, you know that, I'm leaving this path, and you call yourself back. That's why I've decided for us to talk about the vision today, so that people can understand how to plan their lives and how to follow that path.
Absolutely. And I think that's very important, because when you are, like you mentioned, going on a journey, you have to have a very clear direction as to where you're going to. Yeah. It's like painting a picture. I could use an example of this day and age, how sophisticated the technology is. Like, for instance, the cameras that we're using. Yeah. I'm sure they can see everything, even to like the flaws. Yeah. And creating a vision for yourself is being as distinctive as possible, being as clear as possible, and demystifying to the tiniest bit. I mean, like, there's a part of the Bible that says, write the vision and make it plain so that anyone who sees it can run. It means that you need to be so clear that even when you're sharing the vision with someone, they understand what you're saying, they understand what you're doing, where you're going, and they can run on the journey with you. And so just going beyond having an imagination. It's all fun and games when you're excited about, this is the future that I want to achieve. This is where I want to be in the next 30 years or 20 years. But creating a vision takes more work than just having an imagination. It's not just the exciting part of it. I mean, you should be excited about your vision, but it's about you sitting down and doing the work to understand what that vision entails. So it goes beyond just imagining it, but being able to demystify it and break it down to the tiniest bit.
Yeah. So in all the chaos that is going on in the world now, how do you think people will be able to align themselves to exactly what?
I think first of all, you need to be clear about what you want to do. I understand that there are moving parts in the sense that maybe you created a vision or you had a vision for your life some 3-5 years ago, and there's several things that have changed now. There's so many things that have changed, and there are times where you might need to tweak here and there, but it's not a complete shift from your original picture. I believe that when you are sort of going with the times as well, you identify the areas you might need to develop based on, what is sort of expected in this day and age. For instance, we understand that there are specific skills that are necessary for you to ensure that you're not displaced in the job space or in the market in the next 10, 15 years. And there's information about that. And that could also be a guide that sort of like cushions or sort of helps in the building of your vision. So I feel like with your vision, you have to understand, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. You're very clear about it. But I believe you need to also give space for flexibility, understanding that there will be changes that will happen, but you're flexible enough to sort of twist, turn, but not leaving the original foundation of that vision. Yeah.
Okay, that takes me back to my introduction where I said that I moved from being an athlete to a banker.
Wow.
So how do you deviate? So what was the vision at that time?
I mean, that's, when you said that, I didn't know that you were an athlete before, so I just thought that was mind-blowing. And I wonder, because, when people are thinking about it, it's like banking, athletics, like how, where, when, I personally want to know where that, change or that pivot came from. Is banking something that you really like doing, or did you just jump into it, or did you just get into it? And what happened to the athletics, aspect of your journey?
Okay, thinking back now, I was very young when I was an athlete. I was about 16, 17, and I was running for Niger State. I think my vision at that time was I wanted to be on the world stage.
Okay.
Thinking of it, I wanted to be on the world stage. I wanted to be an international athlete. So we had this National Sports Festival in Rivers State, and it was for under 19 to discover fresh talents. We worked so hard for months, prepared. We had a German coach, and after all the preparations, on the opening day of the competition, it was declared open. Okay. So for me, as far as I was concerned, it was a scam. So it's declared open, and all the international athletes came, collected the medals, and took them away. My team came third, and right there and then, I made a decision that this isn't going to take me to where I'm going to, because there's a lot of manipulations in the sports industry.
Yeah.
So I decided right there and then that I have to find something else, and that did not happen immediately. All I knew is that I wanted a career that would take me to the world. So after I finished, that was in secondary school.
Okay.
So after I finished university, started working, said, okay, banking was available. Banking, there were lots of recruitments in banking. I said, okay, who is the mentor? Who can I mentor myself after? Who can I, look up to on the world stage?
Wow.
Is it possible to get there with this career? I found out that it's possible. I saw women like Okonjo-Iweala. I saw women like Arunmi Ote. And I decided, yes, this can actually take me there if I take it seriously. So I decided to go into banking and take it seriously. And I'm getting there gradually. So
I love that. I think that's awesome, because you had a clear picture of what you wanted, which was, I want to be on a global stage. But you probably didn't know how
to get there.
You were going to get there. But I believe that it's also based on, obviously, your skills, because banking it's not just like a random place you just walk into. There's certain skills that are necessary to also position you based on your, your trajectory and how you've been able to grow to the top. It means that there's some specific skills that you had to develop, right? Yeah. That you realized were necessary to get you to the place where you will get to the global stage, even within the banking industry as well.
Yeah.
I think that's phenomenal. And I want to know if you actually enjoy it, because it's one thing to say, I want to be on the global stage. I have a vision of being on the global stage. But do you actually enjoy it? Because, going through life in itself, as opposed to just seeing life as these are the specific things that I need to achieve because I want to be a great person, we also have to teach people how to actually enjoy their journey as well, right? So do you actually enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it because I found out in my work as a coach, I had to become a coach, and I realized from my certifications that you cannot succeed in what you don't enjoy. So it's a principle, it's a law that you cannot succeed. If you want to succeed, you must love what you're doing. And I had a customer that blew my mind. Sometime they have a restaurant. We opened the accounts for the restaurant. We had a relationship with them. And that restaurant was run down in this Lagos. They took the restaurant. Within a year, the place was jam-packed. I remember one evening I was out with my husband and he says, we should go to the restaurant. I said, no, that place is dead. Was dead? He said, no, it's been revitalized. I said, no. He said, we should go. We got there. There was no parking space up to the end of the street. Everywhere was filled up and all that. And I was like, what could have happened? What changed? So one of the days we had the meeting with the manager of the restaurant, and my colleague who was still asking questions was like, come, you are Lebanese. This place has been dead for years. What did you people do to turn this place around? You know what the guy said?
What?
He said the problem we have with Nigerians is 4 things. He said, number 1, Nigerians don't love Nigerians. That Lebanese people love Nigeria more than we love Nigeria. He said, number 2, you cannot succeed in what you don't love. So that everybody trying to migrate to so many other places or changing from one job to the other, that if you don't decide to love what you're doing, the energy to attract success will not come. So wherever you find yourself, you have to speak to yourself, declare to yourself that I love my job.
Yeah.
I had to do that in as much as it's very stressful. So when I found out there was a principle, there was a law. So I say to myself, I love my job. No matter how difficult it is, when people ask me, say banking is stressful, I say it's stressful, but I love it, I enjoy it. I meet people, I solve problems. I meet challenges every day and I'm solving the problems. I'm loving it. I'm excited when I put a smile on somebody's face. When I solve somebody's problem, I'm happy. I love it. And because you love it, the energy to keep attracting more businesses and all that to make you succeed, it just keeps flowing. But if you don't love your job, the energy around you is negative. And once the energy is negative, you can never attract anything good and you will struggle. So it's scientifically proven that it's not very easy to succeed in something that you don't love.
Wow, whilst you were saying that, what this reminded me of was still speaking about vision, right? Yeah. I remember that earlier on when I started learning about vision, when I became more conversant with what it actually does entail. I think it was a time in my life where I knew what I was doing was something that I loved, right? And I remember even before I got that job, how I was so desirous of the job. I was just like, God, if you give me this job, this is it, right? And within this same job, I'm feeling lethargic. I'm feeling burnt out. I'm feeling like, I don't want to do this again. Is this what I wanted to do in the first place? Yeah. And I think I went on this journey, like sort of trying to understand vision. And what I learned was anytime I get to a point where I'm either feeling like I don't love this job anymore or I'm feeling lethargic, it's a vision problem. And here's what it is. Here's what I learned. When you first have a vision for your life, there's this excitement that you feel.
Yeah.
You're so excited and you're just like, I can take on this entire world. In fact, this is what God has called me to be, who God has called me to be. And so you're so pumped. So there's this energy that comes from when you first discover that vision. Yeah. And so what I realized was this thing called vision that you once discovered, it's not that you discover it at a particular part in your life and then you probably shelve it somewhere because in your mind you're like, I already know what the vision is. Yeah. It's something that you need to get back into every now and then.
Yeah, correct.
Going back to that place where you once discovered your vision, reminding yourself of who you wanted to be in the first place. And I feel like it's all psychological as well, because you'd realize that those same hormones, that excitement that you once experienced when you discovered it, you would still find it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the place of like maybe personal retreats, right? Where you take out time at some point. It could be any time in your life. It could be maybe annually, it could be your birthday, maybe 3 days to your birthday, maybe it could be towards the end of the year, where you're having a date with your vision. You go back to your vision to ask yourself, this journey that I'm on, let me remind myself of what it was. Let me even remind myself the reason why I chose this as my journey in the first place.
Correct.
And it gets me back. It sort of like revitalizes me.
Correct.
It gives me that boost again. And it reminds me that I love my job.
Okay.
I love this thing that I am doing. And I feel like that definitely resonated with me.
Okay, so another thing I learned from, how to keep your vision alive was the book written by Elle Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret.
Okay.
That book kind of changed my life. Because in that book, it says that the mind can be tricky and that the mind is the most fertile place in the whole world. That whatever you plant in the mind grows.
Absolutely.
So if you plant poison, it grows. If you plant positive things, it grows. So how do you plant? So I learned how to plant my vision in my subconscious mind. Because it's the subconscious mind that drives your daily activities, not your conscious mind. The subconscious mind drives your habits. So you have to learn how to plant things in your subconscious mind. And how do you plant it? The Bible says, write your vision down, make it plain on paper. So who says it can run with it? So you write your vision on paper. And science has proven there's a relationship between writing it, not typing it. Just actually writing it, Write your vision down, step by step. Then Elle Nightingale says you should have a vision card. So you have your vision book. When you've written your vision, so you can have several visions, as you progress, you can amend them and adjust them and add or subtract. But you have a vision card. What that does is your immediate plan, your immediate goals, your immediate vision. You write it on your card, put it in your wallet, on your handbag. Wake up in the morning, after your prayers, studying your Bible, take that vision, declare it affirm it in the positive, like it's already happening. Like you said, thank God that I am a banker.
Yes.
Father, I thank you that I am this. So what that does to you is resets your mind that this is who I am. This is who I'm becoming. So as I'm going out this day, you have the consciousness that this is my vision, this is my goal. I'm going there to fight to make sure I align myself. And he says again that before you go to bed, last thing before you go to bed, read your vision. Let it be the last thing on your mind before you go to bed. So your subconscious mind is processing and attracting things to make sure that the vision happens.
Wow.
So you have your vision board, your vision book. You can have your vision board where you put it in your room or in your office, the immediate vision. So when you turn around, you see them. I taught my children how to, do the vision book and all that. When I saw my daughter's vision book, it challenged me.
Fantastic.
Because it was better than mine. She had her visions in every area of her life.
That's amazing.
So there was one morning last year, I woke up in the night around 3 a.m. I saw light in her room. I walked into her room. I said, why are you not sleeping? She said she was doing something on her iPad. I said, okay, I went back to bed. When I was going to work, she said, Mommy, come and see what I was doing. And she showed me, she had created a vision board on her screen, on her iPad. So all the things she has written down as her vision, she had taken images of those things and put on her iPad. Yeah. She says, so that every time I open my iPad, I see my vision and I'm focused on them. I was so amazed because the vision, she had immediate, short-term, long-term. As long-term as, Mommy, when I get married, see the kind of house, I'm going to have this number of children, see them, I'm going to drive this kind of car.
That's fantastic.
All the pictures were on her iPad. I was challenged.
Wow.
I was challenged. So that's what vision does for you. Your vision must be around you all the time.
Absolutely.
So it just keeps you focused. So when you are deviating, you're able to identify that, no, I'm taking a wrong path. I'm taking a wrong turn. And it brings you back. But if you don't look at it first thing in the morning, during the day, at night, the wind just keeps tossing you up and down. At the end of the day, you say you've not achieved anything, but you don't have anything you're focusing on to drive you.
Wow.
So I think that's very important concerning the vision. Welcome back to the Love Walk series. We're discussing the vision, building your vision, understanding who you are, and knowing what you want to achieve. Welcome back.
It's interesting when you were speaking about your daughter and how important her vision board is in actualizing her dream. And her being very specific as to even the number of children she wants.
She actually challenged me, honestly.
I love that.
I love that.
Because the thing is, having a vision in itself, it's pregnant. It's all-encompassing. Yeah. A vision is pregnant with the elements that are necessary to achieve that vision.
Yeah, sure.
You know how they say you live life in like reverse. You walk back. So you have a vision and then you walk back to then figure out how then do I get, just like an architect, having a plan, mapping it out, and then getting back to step one, how do I then achieve this, right? And, it got me thinking, if you don't have a vision, you're not able to identify those factors or those elements that are necessary to achieve that vision.
No, not at all.
You know how the Bible says deep calleth unto deep, and sometimes how I interpret that is, because I know from within, I'm very clear about what I want. When I go out, the things that tug onto me or the things that attract me or the things that I'm able to identify are things that are connected to my vision one way or the other. Yeah. Right? You know how they say if you go out there, if they say to you, how many red cars do you see on your way to work? And you're just like, oh, I can't remember. But when you go out, you're now very cognizant of that. And you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, you're able to. And that's how your vision is. Yeah. Because you're cognizant of your vision. When you go out, those factors and those elements that align with your vision, it's easier for you to identify them. It's easier for you to identify, oh, this person that does this is something that could help me in achieving A or B, or this course that I just saw pop up on maybe Instagram or whatever. I'm sure this could be relevant to me achieving or developing these skills that could help me achieve A and B. And that's how a vision is. If you're clear about your vision, before you know it, daily, as you're taking one step and the second step and the next step, you would be able to identify all the necessary steps. You will identify it as one. So yeah. So it's every day that you will walk towards that vision, and it opens up a plethora of options and opportunities that you're now able to identify. Yeah. Prior to when you were able to come up with your vision, you probably didn't see. You probably had access to those things,
but you don't see.
But you didn't see those things, right? But because now this is what I want to achieve. When you go out there, the things that help you achieve it, you're able to identify.
You know why that happens?
Why does that happen?
Because I read a book by Joseph Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Wow.
Because the subconscious mind actually drives, that's what writes all the programs. And they say we're programmed from the age of 7, a child is programmed. So most of us are running programs that we had from childhood, from the environment, from our parents and all that.
Absolutely.
So when you decide, the mind is like a computer. So when you decide to take charge of the computer, what do? You select programs, you identify your vision, and you're consciously. So declaring those affirmations every day is reprogramming your subconscious mind, changing the software to what you have decided to run with it. So as often as you make those affirmations, you're changing the program, and your subconscious that drives everything about you you're now aware, your consciousness, it's open to identify those things that have been around you to make you achieve your goals and your visions. So it's actually like programming. Writing your vision is like programming your subconscious mind, telling it, okay, from not knowing what I want to be, this is what I've decided to be. And you have affirmations, you have scriptures to support it, and you're making those declarations. That's why the Bible says you shall decree a thing and it shall be established. Because the more you have declarations and you're saying them often, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind, taking away those, limiting beliefs you had, that were not supporting your progress. To the ones you've decided to do, and you're farming them every day, you now begin to attract all the things that are going to make you succeed.
Wow.
So
now, what about those people who are like, you know what? I get this, right? I get it that it's important for me to have a vision. It's important as a guide towards achieving, that life that I want. What if I don't even know what life I want? What if I don't even know where I want to go? There are people who are sort of like stuck.
Yeah.
There are people who thought they had a vision. And then all of a sudden they're thinking, I don't think I want to go there. I actually don't think I enjoy it. I've learned about serendipity. And there are people who discovered their vision through serendipitous moments.
Yeah.
There are people who may not even know that they have experienced serendipitous moments for them to identify that, okay, maybe this is what I want to do. So what about those people that don't even know? So where do they even start? Where do they begin?
The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So when you don't know, you're just tossed around. You're just programmed by the environment. That's why people tell you, I can't change, that's who I am. But you can change. The mind is a computer that has been programmed.
Yeah.
So that computer, just identify who you want to become. Who is the person that looks like who you want to become? Study the person. Write out all the things the person does. Start planning planning your own life around where you want to get to. Write your affirmations. Declare them every day. You will see that things will begin to change. And that's why I've decided to have this Love Work series. Because I've realized those things work. I've practiced them and they work. They've worked for me. They're still working for me. And I want to impact. I want to give back. I want to build the younger ones. Not only the younger ones. I've had a few people I've been able to talk to and their lives have changed. I had a woman that was suicidal.
Wow.
She was so suicidal that she didn't eat for 2 weeks. She was praying that a car should run over her so that she doesn't kill herself. She tried taking this rat poison to kill herself. And one day, I was in French school with her. She just remembered, there's this woman that told me, be the woman that never retires. Let me see if she can help me. Because she said her parents are late. Wow. Their family abandoned them after their parents died and all that. So she sent me a message. I called her. She came depressed, crying, everything. And within 5 to 6 hours, she left my house, in fact, a different person. And since then, she's become a very happy human being. She has started planning her life. She has a vision. She's into music now and all that. She's doing so much. Her life has changed. So when I realized that the books I've read and practiced them are working, so that's why I decided to start this Love Work series to give back. So that's people that are able to listen and be doers. Because what happens a lot of us is we get excited, listen to things, and we're excited to talk about it, but we don't do them. We don't actually, commit to doing them. And when you don't do what you hear, I ask myself, okay, this book says this. What do I have to lose by trying it? I don't have anything to lose. So I try it and it works. So I keep reading and studying, and I take each successful person, I study their lives. What did they do? What are the principles that align with my principles? And I just do them. And it works. And life moves. I say, oh, okay, this is how it works. And we keep going.
You keep moving. And I like what you said, because I think this also shows the importance of having role models in your life. So there are times where you might not know what you want, but you know the type of person you want to become. You could see it in a woman or a man that you've come across, either in a book, a documentary, someone that you've probably had access to. You could start with that. You could say, oh, this man is a man that I love. I love everything about him. I love the way he lives his life. I love, the way he speaks, the way he carries himself. I want to be like that. Or you could take the route of asking yourself, what type of life do I want to live? When you wake up in the morning, and I think that was a turning point for me. I was having my makeup done. This was very random. Having my makeup done, and my makeup artist just asked me, what type of life do you want to live? And I just thought it was a very random question. But I think that was one of the most defining questions of my life, because she made me go to the scratch, starting from when you wake up in the morning. What type of life do you want to live?
Your makeup artist?
My makeup artist.
Wow.
Where do you want to wake up when you wake up in the morning? What do you want to do? How many children, like your daughter, right? And so at that time...
My daughter is 18.
That's amazing.
So it's not like she's...
So there are times where you may not know what you want to do, but you know the type of life. Even if it's that you want to live a life that you are financially free, you are buoyant, you're financially independent, you could start with that.
Yeah.
If it's a type of life where it's stress-free, maybe the type of environment that you probably grow your children as well, that could be a starting point for you. So you could look at your role models, or you could look at the type of life you want to live in the first place. And that could be a starting point of identifying what vision you should be building for your life in the first place.
Yeah, that's actually what helps me as well. Having role models and studying them and deciding to plan my life around what they have achieved. And like you asked the question that when I became a banker, there are things I had to do. Of course, when you know where you want to get to, what are the qualifications you need to get there? What are the certifications you need to get there? So you begin to put them together gradually, and before you know it, as you're working, opportunities are opening up for you because of the qualifications you have or the certifications you've done. So that's how it works.
Amazing.
That's how I got here.
That's beautiful, and that's very inspirational. I love it. And I love that you're also giving back, because it's one thing to have role models. It's another thing to have role models stretch their hands out to say, come, let me teach you how I got here, and I think that's very important. So thank you so much for doing that.
Okay. It's actually not as difficult as we think it is. Life, it's easier than we think it is. It's just for us to become the architects of our lives, plan our lives, write a vision down, go to the end of the kind of person you want to become, and take back your steps and decide to put a plan in place. The plans can change, but becoming successful, it's not about what you do. It's about who you become. It's about making yourself an attractive person so that you can follow that path to become the successful person. I wouldn't have done this podcast alone. So I want to thank my guest, Ifunanya Igwe, who is a communication expert, for joining me today to impact, to share with people today. Thank you so much. I hope to have you again on the
Absolutely. I should be saying thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. I'm so grateful. I've learned so much from you as well, and I'm most certainly going to be coming back.
Oh, so that's great. Thank you. Thank you.